Can you walk with me?
Yes.
That is what we're here for, I suppose.
Hello, Gandhi.
I hope I may be forgiven for only recognizing you at close range, for I do not see much with these $5 spectacles. I am reenacting the Mahatma's Salt March of 1930, his most famous act of civil disobedience. And my act of civil disobedience will be to reach the federal building at Concord, New Hampshire, and deliver to them a list of grievances. On paper, this violates a federal restriction on speech, which has a long number that I do not remember, and should result in either my arrest or my finage. In the past, it has resulted in either one, depending on which free stater was doing it, under which circumstances. So this is a protest. This is my way of protesting against the inappropriate federal raids on New Hampshire Bitcoiners. That is why some call me Biycoin Gandhi. FreeTheCrypto6.com is a URL where you can go to donate to the legal defense of 6 people who were unjustly arrested in New Hampshire on March 16th of this year, 2021. The federal government, in a series of SWAT and not SWAT raids around New Hampshire, seized many Bitcoin machines, arrested 6 people, and temporarily knocked the world's #1 libertarian talk show off the air. Although they did broadcast that night, thanks to you, they were not able to.
You're very welcome.
In their full glory, as usual. So this was an attack on speech. It was an attack on the freedom to use the currency of your choosing in the manner of your choosing. Kwai. Hello. Before beginning, it is appropriate to invoke the beginning, or at least the ancient. We should acknowledge fully those whom the federal government has not acknowledged fully, the people of the Dawn Land. For we are gathered on the traditional home of the Abenaki tribes. They are the inhabitants who are here before and so wronged by the many aggressionist governments, and sometimes individuals, which have misruled this nation as yet unborn. Wigba, Wawaldaman, Tani, Liwotozoni, Alanbaiwi, which is Abenaki for, I would like to know how to say that in Abenaki. It is also appropriate to acknowledge the Mahatma's province and his people, whom Bahu Gujarati Nati Bolato, whom Dilagiracho. I do not speak much Gujarati either. I am sorry. But it is they who have given us the real Gandhi. Without his example, we would be uncertain how to act against the many injustices which came with federal rule over New Hampshire. In his spirit, without his greatness, we are gathered in a reaction to a vicious Washington misdeed perpetrated on this spot. Like a goose eating its own golden eggs, the central government has physically assaulted the most promising sector of its most promising region. It is our mission to peaceably act against the misdeeds of 3/16, a date which will live in dishonor. On that day, we remember, 1. Its seizure of many New Hampshire Bitcoin vending machines in many locations. Its SWAT raid on the studios of a major pro-independence talk show after it introduced the world to Bitcoin and criticized SWAT teams. Its shutdown of 4 square blocks of residential Keene. Its arrest of 6 Bitcoiners, 2 of which are now indefinitely held without trial based on the thinnest, baldest of false flight risk allegations. Some threatened with massive prison terms, without credible accusation of harm. And most importantly, its intent to send you the bill for its malfeasance, as it already bills you for the medievalist torture chambers it built and used abroad. Just Google Bagram Air Force Base. These events, which mostly unfolded in a single New Hampshire day, are just the latest of many grievances, which have multiplied for centuries in this largely innocent and undeserving province. But the enumeration of them is not mine alone to articulate. It is yours. For the purpose of this march is in part to collect your written grievances and deliver them in respectful but open defiance of unjust federal edict. Centralizationists at the muggy imperial seat have declared that no New Hampshireite may distribute so much as a slip of paper on its unsightly fortified properties. Having already served 4 days in a concrete box for doing just that, it is now my duty to repeat the deed and perhaps serve many more days, so confined, if necessary. Only 1 in 3 peaceable independence campaigns succeed in the modern world, even with great numbers. Even as tiny, a movement as tiny as our own is likely to be part of the majority which technically fails. But every Washington prosecution and prohibition, many of the latter are not even laws anymore, is a spark with the potential to light the flame of peaceable revolt and secessionist fervor. The Crypto 6 spark has lit this humble flame. Will you join it and make it grow as the true Mr. Gandhi did? For each of you, and in fact for everyone everywhere, I have this request, which I hope will not sound off self-aggrandizing. Go to biycoingandhi.net, undertake one of the constructive action items there. Unlike our aggressionist foes, abolitionists like you have an infinite variety of options for achieving your objectives. Speaking of which, some of you have asked what are the objectives of this 3-week campaign. They are partly to raise an additional $25,000 federal dollars worth of donations for the legal defense of the New Hampshire Bitcoiners which Washington arrested. Learn more at freethecrypto6.com. To ensure that at least 2 million of thinking beings see or hear of this march's occurrence and thus learn of our grievances. To give New Hampshire's tormentors a suspicion that the Great Raid was strategically unsuccessful and created something unintended. At least giving them an indication that something different happens when they do things of this sort in this place. Also, to change the tone of our current relations with Washington, to re-establish textbook civil disobedience in New Hampshire in the tradition of the outlaw manicurist Mike Fisher and the outlaw leafleter Russell Canning, and most importantly, to suck the air out of the blowhard room. Some freedom folk have advocated for violence against American government workers. This demonstration intends to undermine their backfiring suggestion and help enforce, through example, non-violent discipline throughout this endeavor. You can view my suggested protocol for dealing with blowhards and threateners at biycoingandhi.net. I now ask, to those of you who are willing, join me in this march to the Keene Police Department to deliver our first grievances. Let's do it.
No. After you, Gandhi.
I will allow. I will hand mine in.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No.
Alright, thank you.
Check it out, guys. I'm at the Bitcoin Embassy in New Hampshire. This is where the first Bitcoin ATM was ever installed here in New Hampshire. And check it out. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. Let's see what today's Bitcoin price is. 51,187. Dash is at 203. Check it out, guys. Very cool. And this embassy is right next door to the Mighty Moose Mart. Oh, cool, guys. I can buy my drink with AnyPay. I just bought something with AnyPay here at the Mighty Moose Mart. That was freaking awesome. Oh, so you're a peace-loving individual, too?
You're fucking right! Peaceful-loving individual here, you better arrest them! And I'm as mad as fucking hell, and I'm not gonna take your fucking occupation anymore! pulled out the anchors we put in there.
Yeah, check out. This is serious damage. This is like
Oh yeah, they damaged.
grand theft right here, guys. Grand theft. They pulled it right out of the fucking floor.
That worked out better than it could have.
Ain't over yet.